Congratulations if you just went ahead and picked up a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. This is going to be a quick introductory guide to basically how to use this phone. Nothing super crazy, but by the end of this, you should have a good understanding of how to use your brand new Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Now, this is a very expensive phone, so I would recommend getting a screen protector, getting a case, and all that stuff. But really quickly on the outside, we have a beautiful dynamic AMOLED display on the front, hole punch camera up here, 120Hz, curved edge panel as well. And this phone is actually now more of a rectangle, more in line with the Note lineup, which was really cool. So we have flat sides on the top and the bottom, and there's some cool things about this phone too that some other Samsung phones and most other phones really in general don't have. Now on the left side, we really don't have anything, just the antenna band up here, nothing really else on the outside on the bottom portion. On the right side, we have our power button, we have our volume down and up buttons as well, another antenna band, but nothing else, pretty seamless. All the buttons we will ever interact with are going to be on the right side of the phone, so they make it really easy with us, not super crazy amount of buttons or anything. On the top, we have a microphone up here and another antenna band, nothing else. And on the bottom of the phone, this is where things start getting really, really interesting. So starting with the top right or the right portion, I got another antenna band. We do have our SIM card eject option, so if you want, you can go ahead and grab your SIM card eject tool from within the box, so you should have it in the box, and you'll find a little hole right here. Now, you want to do it to the hole that's within the portion, so the second hole. You don't want to do it to the hole closer to the charging port, because that is the microphone. You do not want to put it there. You want to put it inside of the hole, pretty much where it slides into place. You can go ahead and take it out just like so. You can go ahead and input your actual SIM card here. So it's a very, very easy process. Just pop your SIM card from your old phone into this one, make sure it's compatible, and at that point all you have to do is slide it back in, make sure the hole's aligned, and that's pretty much it. You've now just put in the SIM card of your phone. You have the charging port right here where you can go ahead and charge it. You also have wireless charging, you have a speaker grill, and you have the S Pen as well. So you can go ahead and click this S Pen into place, you can pull it out, and it's pretty much a stylus that you can go ahead and use on your phone, which we'll get into in a second, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. You don't want to put it in, you want to make sure it's put in with the stylus pointy part putting into the phone. You can put it in either way, but make sure that the clicky part is at the back. Now we can go ahead and make our way over to the back of the phone, and you will see that the phone is completely flat. The camera modules are up here. We have pretty much 4 camera sensors, which is really cool. We have this frosted glass back, we have wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, the whole 9 yards. And overall, this is a very, very good phone. This is one of the best phones you can buy this year. And that pretty much covers it up on the outside. You should have a good understanding of how the S22 Ultra, the main features on the outside. Now, turning it on, much like any other Samsung phone, you will have your lock screen. So with the lock screen, and pretty much these things stay consistent throughout, you will have your, little T-Mobile, Verizon, whatever cell signal service you have, it'll come up here. You have your hole punch camera right here. You have your time, your charging selection, Wi-Fi, sound volumes, all this stuff, bars. You'll have all that stuff on the top right corner as well. So you can go ahead and quickly look here and glance and see, some type of information of your phone. Now this middle portion is the time, the date as well as some other, quick notifications. If you have any notifications, they'll come right here. And in fact, you can go ahead and click on these notifications and expand some stuff too. So if you want to expand out of it, you can go and click here. Now you'll have your wallpaper, you'll have your fingerprint sensor right here if you want to set it up, if you set it up in the personal, settings before. Now at the bottom, for those of you who don't know, you can actually, instead of clicking the power button to turn your phone on, you can actually double tap the display to turn it on like this, but you can also double tap the display to turn it off as well, which is really cool. Now we double tap to turn it on. At the bottom, we have a couple other options. So it tells us to swipe to open. You can configure these quick toggles at the bottom. So if I go ahead and were to hold down this option, I can quickly get into phone calls and come right here. If we go and click on the home button, we'll come back home. If I go and double tap the display again, I can turn it off, turn it back on, and we can quickly get into the camera by swiping the other toggle. Now you can configure these in the options if you want to, but another thing you can do is go and click home, or if you want to, if you're on the lock screen, you can swipe up and pretty much come back home. Now this is our home screen. You'll pretty much come here. This is where you're probably going to spend a lot of time at. However, one thing I want to show you is the bottom bar. So we talked about the top bar. The bottom bar is configurable. So you can have it as, the buttons at the bottom. So you can click the home button. You can click the recents button if you want to see a list of your recent applications. You can click the home button to get out of it. But you can also click the back button, which will go ahead and take you back to wherever you were. So if I click here, an application, if I click back, it'll go ahead and take me back. However, if I go and click here, if I go and click here, if I click back, it'll take me back to where I was, so it won't always take you home. Now, if you want to change this, we can change it in the settings. If we go and swipe up, we'll get into our app drawer. So this is where all of our applications are. So on your home screen, you won't really see all the applications that you have. You'll have some of your applications, but all of them will be in your app drawer where you can configure. So now if we make our way over to our settings panel, so go and click on settings, there are a lot of settings here. We have connections for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth stuff, sounds and vibration, notification settings. But right here under display, we can go in and click on display. We can set our phone to light mode or dark mode if you want to. Personally, I like a light mode for some of these videos. You can change your brightness here, but there's some other ways to change it too. Adaptive brightness, all these other options. But right here, and I would recommend going through and reading all these options if you want to, under navigation bar, what you can do is you can go and click here, and we can actually change it from these buttons to swipe gestures. So look what happens. It pretty much will remove the navigation bar and it will give us gestures. If you're more of an advanced user, then I would recommend using swipe gestures. If not, buttons are fine, but this is the same thing. So we can go ahead and make our way home by swiping up. So instead of clicking the buttons like we did before, it's now just gestures. So now instead of, clicking the button, we can swipe home to get home. To get into recents, we go ahead and kind of drag it from the side like this, and then we get into our recents panel. And if you want to go back, so very similar to where we were before, instead of clicking that back button, we can just swipe and drag to the side, and we will come back into the panel where we were before. So it's really cool. I'd recommend using gestures. It takes a little bit of time getting used to, but after you get used to it, it's a very beautiful experience. Now, the top bar also has a little bit more functionality, just like the nav bar. So if we swipe down, you will see we have a little bit of a similar type of experience that we had before on the lock screen. So we have, our notifications here if you want to. However, we now have our date and time up here, but we also have our quick toggles. So any notifications will come up here. If you swipe down once more, you'll see this. So kind of looks like the lock screen, not really. Here we have some options for media output, device control, but here is completely configurable. You have a lot of these toggles that you can swipe between that you can actually go ahead and actually get some more information about your device. So I'd recommend reading through each one and kind of understanding which specific ones do what. I mean, they explain what it is. Flashlight, for example, turns on your flashlight. Airplane mode turns on airplane mode. Turning on or off mobile data, so on and so forth. You can turn on or off your location as well if you want to. And in this case, it'll go and kind of shrug at me. But let me go ahead and hop back up. You can also change your brightness down here as well. Now, there are some times where there's 3 dots. That basically just means that there's more options. So if I go and click on those 3 dots here, it just allows me to kind of configure it a little bit more. Same thing up here, 3 dots, I click here. Allows me to get a little bit more information, a couple more menu items. Hopping out of here, you can go ahead and configure these too. If you go and click the plus button here, you can go ahead and drag and drop any of these quick toggles, and I'd recommend configuring these quick toggles however you'd like, because you're going to be messing with these a lot. At least I do personally. Now you can also change the brightness toggles down here. Up top, there's a couple of more options. So we have our search bar if you ever want to search for anything on your phone, applications, settings, text messages, really anything. It says include searches, include apps, app content, files and storage, so much stuff. So you can go ahead and search for your phone if you're looking for certain photos or anything like that. You can search for and see if they come up. Now, if we make our way back to the bottom right here, we have our power button. If we click here, it'll actually go ahead and allow us to power off our phone, restart, and emergency mode. So instead of clicking the power button to turn off or on our phone, we can go ahead and do it here, which is really cool. Now back on our home screen, if we go and come here, this is also completely customizable. So if we go ahead, we can go ahead and move these options around if we want to. We can change it from here to here. We can go ahead and delete widgets by holding it down. We can also delete widgets by holding it down and clicking remove, which is awesome. You can do the same thing for these applications as well. Let's say, for example, I don't like OneDrive being here. I want to, just remove it from my display. Well, I can go and hold it down, and I can go and click remove, and it'll remove it. You can do the same thing with the dock as well. Now, if we want to, bring an application back up, well, like I mentioned before, we can swipe up to get into our app drawer. And let's say, oh, I really like OneDrive being there. Well, what I can do now, or let's say clock. Let's say I want to bring the clock app to my home screen. Well, I can hold it down like this. I can go ahead and drag it up to the little top portion that kind of tells you. And you can go ahead and drag it to exactly where you want to drag it to. Now, let's say I don't like this application being here. I want to drag it to a different display. We'll just grab it and bring it to a different display like that. And you can drop it wherever you want to. Well, let's say you don't like it there. You want it somewhere else. We'll hold it down. You can go ahead and drag it to wherever else you want. And that's pretty much the process. It's very basic, nothing super crazy about it. And typically what I do is I just kind of drag a lot of these applications like Snapchat, and I'll go ahead and kind of configure my main menu to pretty much be something that I would typically use. So I like having some of these applications here. I don't think there's a way to multi-select applications as far as I can tell, but this allows me to quickly kind of go through it, and it's really awesome. Now, another thing you may want to do is download applications on your phone in the first place. So to do that, you'll pretty much do all this from your Play Store. So you want to open up the Play Store and you just want to kind of like find applications that you would normally like. Typically, I just download the basic ones like Snapchat and stuff. But if you want, you can pretty much spend your days just scrolling through the Play Store and downloading any applications. I mean, there's tons of games like Clash of Clans. There's just so much, ecosystem. Find the application that you like. Watch a couple YouTube videos about best applications on Android, and you'll find a bunch of stuff for you. Now we can go and swipe back up and come back to our home screen. Now another big thing is pretty much making phone calls, messages. I'm sure most of you already know this stuff by now, but the phone icon and the messaging icon will take you straight into your phone app, so you can go and call people if you want to. The messaging app will take you to how to text people and all that stuff. Most of you have probably used a phone by now, so it's pretty basic stuff. You can change these to other apps if you want to, but I typically just keep them the same. The Chrome browser is the built-in actual web browser, and right under camera, this is our main camera application. Luckily for you, the S22 Ultra has a beautiful camera within it, and it has a ton of capability. It's probably the best camera for this year, and I would recommend getting used to taking the photos here. One big thing a lot of people don't realize is they have photo and video mode and portrait mode that pretty much everyone knows, but under more mode, we actually have the capability of pretty much having a lot more capability here for our phone, which is so cool. So I'd recommend going through here and kind of understanding some of these features as well. Now I do want to hit on the S Pen. So swiping back up, remember earlier I mentioned the stylus. What we can do is we can go and click into the phone like this, and I think I turned the phone off. We can go ahead and drag this out like so, and what we can do is pretty much, it'll tell you to set it up before whenever you do anything, but there's a lot of capability here. If I go and swipe out of it, and if I go and kind of, let's just say, and I'd recommend going through here and understanding each one of these as well. So under create note, we can go ahead and quickly write a note. So if I say hi or something like that, right? I'm not naturally right-handed, but you can go ahead and write and you'll see a little bubble kind of press up too. Now there's a little button on your S Pen as well. You can click on it to actually toggle up this menu. So if you want, you can go ahead and do whatever you want to, draw. If you want to go ahead and swipe out of it, you can go and swipe out of it just like any other thing. And you can use this as a stylus, which is so cool. So now a little quick toggle is up here, and you can go ahead and if you want to, you can kind of drag it out or remove it. You can go and move your phone however you want to. You can go and click here to get back into your toggle thing. If not, you can just swipe up. But you can also click this button again to bring up that little menu as well and hold it down, and it'll pretty much allow you to have a little bit more customizability there too. So this is really cool. It just doubles as pretty much like a stylus thing. I like it a lot, and I typically don't really use it too often. The button up top doesn't really do anything, it just clicks in, but it is a really cool feature that we have on something like a Galaxy S22 Ultra, and it charges by just being in the phone. So wirelessly charges in here, so if you don't even use it, then it doesn't really matter. But if you use it, it'll charge up while you're in there, and you can draw with it. You can do a lot of different things with that as well. Now, that is pretty much the main use case of your S22 Ultra and a quick introduction to pretty much how to use this phone. Again, nothing crazy, but you should have a good understanding of how to use this phone as at this point. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.